Hey everybody, welcome back to LWN Network. It's good to see you guys this Wednesday evening, December 3rd, 2025. We have a great show for you per usual. It probably will get you hot under the collar. I know that it did me in LW, and we have a wonderful surprise guest that was able to make it this evening, and we're always happy to see that person here. I'm sure you can guess who it is. So we have a lot locked and loaded, ready to go, and like I said, hang on to your hats because this whole thing about we thought the Fed was dead and all hell breaking loose through New York and Minneapolis, Minnesota is a real thing. And we have some numbers and we have some maps to show you about Somalians and these illegal immigrants that are here. And the numbers astounded me. I had no idea that they were at the levels they were at. So we have a packed show. Can't wait to see what the latest our special guest has. So we will see you guys LW and the special guests right after this 30-second intro.
Hey, we're back. Welcome to LWN tonight. Of course, special guest is Jeff B. Excited to have him with us tonight. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. And man, I tell you what, it's going to get interesting. Conversation should be fun. Looking forward to it. And one other thing real quick, hit that like button, subscribe. Share us out if you haven't already done that. It really helps our numbers. We're growing over there on X. So thank you guys over there on X for reposting. That's a big deal. We're up to, we're getting close to 300 over there on X. But, you know, I'm grateful for that because X is a hard platform to really grab traction. So everybody over there on X that's helping make that difference, really appreciate it. We're climbing on Facebook too. We're still trying to hit 250 over there. I think we're past 225, 226, something like that. So anybody that's watching us over there on Facebook tonight, hit that like button, subscribe, share us out on your page. It helps. And of course, YouTube, Rumble. Thank you guys over there. Hit that Rumble button. Hit the like button on YouTube if you haven't done that. Share us out, subscribe. It helps. We got some T-shirts. Some new T-shirts that we're going to be throwing out there in the store within the next couple of weeks. So right around Christmas time, you guys are going to see some new merch hit Jeff's store. And I'm telling you, this idea was on a whim today. Pretty exciting. Had a meeting with Tammy and War Machine. And so War Machine is busy. He's going to start creating those, and I think you guys are going to love our new idea. It's fresh, it's new, it's exciting. So pay attention to the store for that. And, of course, the coin giveaway here next Monday, which is December the 8th, right, Tammy?
Yep, December 8th. Yep, we're going to be ready to go.
You don't have to correct me no more. That's good. That's all. Just needed a yes. Need you. So December the 8th, which is Monday, we're doing an 8 coin giveaway, right, Tammy?
Yes, right.
Okay, that's all. That's all I needed. All right, we're good. And then Jeff B has graciously offered to do, I think it's 6 $25 gift certificates to the store so that you guys can purchase whatever T-shirts that you want. So thank you to Jeff B for that. Right, Tammy?
Right. And
that's
Jeff
all
B-
we needed. Okay, we're good. All right, so that's the show tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun. Love teasing and joking around with Tammy. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Tammy. You get to be boss bitch. You get to drive the bus. Where are we headed tonight?
Well, we are headed to talk about all these illegals, all these Somalians, and what the heck is going down in Minneapolis. And the Minneapolis mayor came out and was stating that he is not going to cooperate with ICE because it is not American and it's not right and just to do what ICE is doing. And when I heard that little guy on there saying that, my top and my lid flew off, because I'm like, where the heck do you think you're living, buddy? Where the hell do you think you're living? But you think it's okay for these illegals to do all the corruption and things they did by stealing taxpayers' money. You know, a lot of them are bad. Sanctuary City, New York, also released nearly 7,000 criminal illegal aliens that were murderers, terrorists, and sexual predators. We have an article on that's going to show you some of these people that they've captured and some of these atrocities that they've committed. Some of them have been here 7 times and returned and came back the 8th time, and they're finally deported. So, I mean, I'm just kind of fed up, because we talk about this and illegals taking jobs and, oh, they're just, you know, helpless families looking for an escape to a better country, hence United States of America. However, that's not the case. The majority of them are bad people, and they're doing illegally. So, you know, I'm just kind of over it. So I'm so glad Jeff B is here as well to feed into what we're going to talk about as far as, you know, the different legalities that we face, or the different illegals, and what the process is we have to follow. Because I say just kick their butts out of here. I don't think that we should have to go through anything, that Trump's orders surpass everything. They shouldn't be here in the first place. I'm just so fatigued and tired and pissed. And that's where I want to start.
All right. Well, let's kick the tires and light the fires. I sent you a text, Tammy, so let's not forget that. And I don't know, Jeff's here tonight, and we just have a lot to cover, and we got 90 minutes to do it. So let's go.
Okay, well, I'm going to say thank you for Barry McLean, who bought 3 coffees for us, says, love your shows. And I think that's wonderful. Thank you, Barry, so much for buying us coffees.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Thank you for the coffees.
So, Jeff, before I start, I have LW show this this article that came through from Homeland Security. How are you feeling about all the people here in this country, and what I said about New York and what's going on in Minnesota?
Well, I mean, it's part of of an invasion program, and I think what Trump announced today, what he's going to be doing. If you haven't heard it already, it's probably going to shock a lot of people.
Go ahead.
He's going to start firing a whole mess ton of federal immigration judges.
Yeah, let's talk about that first.
Yes.
Let's kick off with that.
Hallelujah to that. It's about long dang time. So go ahead, Jeff. Spill the beans on what you know. I hope Boasberg is one of them. We know he's in trouble.
Well, I was talking with somebody earlier today, and we were talking about this when it first came out. And it's amazing how, right before or right after the whooping cough that, Trump tried to stop the immigration, and every judge in Congress was going off the deep end about it. But, Trump made this announcement. I think it was a couple days ago, he started to talk about it, and you haven't heard any en masse congressional members or judges putting an order out. So I find it kind of interesting that he's talking about this, and we have all these immigration or all these JAG attorneys sitting in DC.
Right. And the thing is, Trump has been talking about this and screaming about this for a very long time. But when you do the dive into it, instead of just like repeating little talking points, and you do a dive, it really ticks you off. And, I learned that I'm going to try to say this name. It's Ghazala Hashmi. is the first Muslim to win the statewide office in Virginia. She's an Indian American, and she won the lieutenant governor's race in the U.S. state of Virginia, November 5th. Now, she entered politics in 2019 by flipping a Republican-held Virginia state Senate seat and then went on to win the Democratic primary for lieutenant governor in June. So my thing is, she's the first Muslim. So we've got that one. We've all talked about Mom Donnie of New York, that one. And then Katie Wilson won and defeated Democratic Mayor Bruce Harrell in an election that was really tight. And
that was in Seattle.
That's it. Yep, that's in Seattle. And Wilson did already face criticism because past support of defunding the police is what she's most notably thrown her support for. We don't want the police, okay? She wanted to put in through a solidarity budget, she called it, which would have cut the Seattle police force by 50%. So basically what I'm saying is there's a pattern here now. It's not just about us not wanting, immigrants here. It's not about that. We're way past being nice about this. These are hardcore people that want to change our very way of living and being in the United States of America. And that's what pisses me off. And I want to know who exactly is voting for those people. Well, I heard on Bannon today. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I just want to go when you're done.
Okay.
I'm doing
I love it. I heard on Bannon today that there were over, 80,000 Somalis that voted in Ilhan Omar. She was in Minnesota. She wouldn't have won. So we've got these illegals that are voting. This is why it's so detrimental to our country. They're not here. Legally, they shouldn't be voting. And it made sense because we talked about Gen X voting for Mondani in New York. Okay, that was the thing. We've got to get to those people and straighten them out. But a lot of these illegals did vote for these people and got them in. And there's 3 major ones now that are sitting in seats that they shouldn't be because there's not one United States citizen that is sitting in a seat in another country. And I'm just fed up with it. It's just disgusting to me. So that's where I'm going with that. Ilhan Omar is in a lot of trouble. We're going to talk about her as well. Trump did a post about her as well. But I'm just kind of fed up with all these people that you can't even pronounce their names properly. Then they come out and they say they want to do everything that is anti-American, and it goes on and on. Go ahead.
Well, this is what I want to say. All right, here we go. This is a full-fledged invasion. It has been said across many different, I don't know what you even want to call them, universes, places, that America will be taken down from within, that they will capture America without even firing a shot. And I want to make a statement that's been said before, but I'm going to say it again. I've said it before. To all those people that are voting for the social democrat, which is basically communist, you might think it's fun and games to vote these sons of bitches into office across this nation. But I promise you, if you think for 1 second voting these people in is going to be easy getting them out, you're going to vote them in, and we're going to have to shoot our way out. That is a fact. This is an invasion of America. It's been going on for a long effing time, especially the last 4 years prior to Donald Trump. Now, these people are not here to assimilate American culture. And don't get me wrong, I love the different cultures here in America. I mean, we got Hispanic, we got the Spanish culture. I love Mexican food. I love the Hispanic people. They're hardworking. They contribute to society. You've got the Italians. You got so many different cultures here in America that bring beautiful things to America, but they still assimilate. They still have our morals, our values. They take on America. They love America. They fly the American flag. But these people that are crossing our border illegally and these people that have been invading this country are not here to assimilate. They are here to change us. They are a threat to America and to our future. Now, we're going to do a separate show talking about population. Now, these people come here and when they multiply, they're not multiplying 1, 2 kids. They're multiplying 8 kids. When Tammy says they're getting voted in, This is insane, and we're going to do a whole show on it, and we're going to show you guys the numbers of the people coming across this border and how we should be very concerned about this. Then you want to talk about the voting situation. They come in here and they vote Islamic. Some of them are extremists into office, and now they're talking about in Texas about having Sharia law, this, that, and the other. I mean, folks, you should be really upset and concerned about the illegals that are coming across our border. And part of our title tonight was, the shit show going on in New York City and all hell breaking loose in New York City. I reported years ago that there was 2.1 million illegals in New York City that they were trying to get to be able to vote on county and city elections in New York City. That should scare the hell out of you, especially if you live in New York. Now they just released 7,000 illegals out of prison into New York State. Now, that should scare the hell out of people living in New York State. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'll turn it back to Tammy and Jeff. I want to be clear. When these people are moving to Texas, they're moving to California, they're moving to a lot of these states, and people like me in Idaho, we get concerned with Californians moving here. We get concerned with people from Washington State moving here because they're very liberal states. They're very leftist, and that's very concerning to a red state. But I'm telling you right now, you cannot be mad at a lot of these people that are fleeing these states, because a lot of them that I've interviewed, a lot of them that I've talked to are as conservative or more conservative than even I am, and they are fleeing for a reason. They're getting the hell out of these states because it's unsafe to raise a family there. They don't like what's going on. And so I encourage those people to move here. I would like to meet more of them because they're not all bad. The people that are fleeing those states and moving to conservative states. They're coming to these conservative states because we're constitutional carry. We don't put up with shit. We're still somewhat free to a certain standard, and that's why they're coming. So I yield the floor.
Yeah. Jeff B., what say you?
Yeah. I mean, what else more can you say? Yeah, I mean, it's an invasion. And I think that's, and I'm sure we'll get into, what Trump said today about the auto pen, but this is just going to keep adding to what I believe is a constitutional crisis that's inbound really quick.
Yeah, so if you can pull up that Homeland Security article I sent you, and we'll just scroll through it real quick here because this gives the details. Because I tell you, I like to have the details. It's not just me saying it or Jeff or you saying something. It's the details. It's not that one. It's the Homeland Security one. That's the map. We can go ahead and go with that if you want to. Okay. So let's start with the map here. So this map actually covers how many Muslims in the 2020 census estimate in the United States of America. So that's 5 years ago, almost basically 6 years ago now. So you look at these numbers. I mean, in Texas and California, Illinois, New York, 300,000 or more. When you go to my great state of Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Ohio, some of these lighter green ones, they have 100,000 or more. And we know that is way bigger because of all the people that the Biden administration had let in, right? We know that this is, but what you don't see on here.
This is 2020. This is 2020. So this is before, this is right when old Sleepy Joe came into office. That should scare the hell out of you because these numbers are 5 years old. And don't forget, for the 4 years that Sleepy Joe was in office, the border was wide open. Sons of bitches were coming across. I remember doing stats on that, and I was reporting on it. And at one time, every 28 days, they calculated from what they could estimate was around 500,000 every 28 days coming across our border, Tammy, which is, again, the size of Atlanta, Georgia. That's scary. And they don't even know how many illegals are in this country. I think the last estimate I heard was something like 12 million in the last 4 years, but I don't even think they really know the total, Tammy.
Well, I don't either. And you look at Texas. Texas is a massive state, and it's the darkest of the green. And
yeah,
while
very well.
Yeah, so as we're talking about that, Epic City in Texas, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but is under Sharia law, that it is the state with the most Muslims, basically. So they have Epic City.
State or city? Are you talking state or city or county?
State. You look at the state. Texas is the biggest state. It has the most, okay? But also there's a place called Epic City in Texas, which is a project, a developmental project that was initiated by Epic to be managed through a created entity called Community Capital Partners. So the proposed community is designed to feature over 1,000 residential units with a mosque, a K-12 faith-based school, and on and on. So basically, this was launched in 2024 in Texas, and it is under Sharia law, and it is a Muslim city per se. Now, Greg Abbott, who is the Texas governor, expressed opposition to that development, sharing concerns about it. But he said, to be clear, Sharia law is not allowed in Texas, nor are Sharia cities. So the thing is, they're going against it, but then this is the proposed thing that's going on in Texas. And that was shocking to me because I had no idea that that was even going on in Texas or they were dealing with any of that.
I didn't know that was going on either. What's the next one that you want me to show, Tammy, before we turn it over to Jeff and let him?
It was the Homeland Security.
Trump borders are?
The sanctuary. Did I send you Homeland Security, the sanctuary city with the 7,000 people? Did I send that one? If not, I can share it because that's just, because I say,
go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I might not have sent that one. There we go. So share. So there it is right here. Did you get it up there? Oh, maybe I can't add.
I'm not touching it.
There we go. Okay, so here we go. So this was from Homeland Security put out. Now, it gives you all the breakdown, basically saying there's currently 7,113 aliens in the custody of New York jurisdiction with an active detainer. So they released them. ICE has been working to gather them around. But I want to just give you a brief synopsis of a few of these people. So this first picture of this man here is named Steven Galicia. He was arrested for attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Despite an ICE detainer, he remained at large. On September 20th, ICE did arrest him in New York, and he's now detained by ICE pending immigration proceedings. So they had to go after this guy. The next guy, in August of 2025, he's a Crips gang member. We've heard about Trump talking about the Crips gang. He was wanted for criminal possession of a weapon and possession of a controlled substance. He also has a conviction for assault. Despite an ICE detainer lodged against him, Sayeti Martinez was released by local authorities on September 11th. ICE arrested him in the Bronx, and he remains detained by ICE pending immigration proceedings. So we're going to see a pattern here, that these guys have had multiple occurrences and offenses released by local authorities, and ICE has to go in and get these people, and there's a couple more. On September 25th, this guy with this look on his face, in September, he was wanted for rape, strangulation, and assault. ICE had a detainer lodged against him, but once again, he was released by local authorities. ICE had to rearrest him, and he remains detained by ICE pending immigration proceedings. So, when we hear out there that ICE are arresting just random people, that is not true. We know that they have their eye, their detail on every single person, right? So they know who they're going to get before they go get them. Then this guy, this dude right here, this next one, the New York Police Department arrested him for crimes including rape, assault, and criminal contempt. He was convicted for aggravated criminal contempt, violating an order of protection, and causing physical injury. Obviously, ICE had lodged a detainer against him, but he was released after sentencing. but now ICE has them again. So what you're seeing is these sons of bees go through the system, they get their conviction, and then they release them. And then it keeps going down here. So like I said, this guy down here, we'll just keep scrolling. These are some of them that ICE have gotten. But this dude up here, March 27th, this great looking guy with the red shirt on, he was previously deported by ICE in 2024, had 3 previous DUI convictions in New York State before being arrested by the New York State Police, and another DUI. ICE issued a detainer for him where he was being held, but the ICE detainer was not honored, and he was released by the New York State Police, forcing ICE to arrest him at his residence. So as you scroll through this article, you guys can go see it and look in detail, the longer version on Homeland Security. What pisses me off about this is the time, effort, and money that we have spent, taxpayer dollars, and our people in uniform, ICE people, and what they've had to deal with repeatedly with these repeat criminals and repeat offenses. Think about the billions of dollars that have been wasted on these people.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I think is, with the announcement with Trump today, with him firing all these judges, there's only a few options left, because you have these guys that are constantly committing these offenses, and once you kick them loose, they're a ghost. And even the ones that come here illegally, when they go in front of these judges, they're not notifying ICE or anybody. And then you just have the mayor of up in Minneapolis. They had this press conference, and the chief of police says, "No, we're not going to aid in with ICE." And then they told the Somalian community to call 911 so they can know where ICE is going to be at. I mean, this is mind-boggling. And what other ways is the federal government, the chief executive, going to be able to stop all this nonsense? I mean, he can fire these judges, but are they going to reappoint even more liberal judges, or not even liberal? Because before you could say that, but now it's just judges that want to wreck this nation, or on
right,
and don't abide by the Constitution. And
Tammy, how about those judges that were actually hiding, or they had illegals staying in their homes, or even in the courtroom? Didn't you report where one judge, they had him in the courtroom and then let him out the back door or something?
Yes.
Like that?
Yes. Good recall there, LW. Absolutely, they did that. And yes, some of them got into trouble for harboring illegals. So not only do you have just the average person or so-called relatives or maybe friends that these illegals have made once they got here protecting them from ICE, you've got people in authority, like Jeff B said, these judges and stuff doing it. What the hell is going on? It is just disgusting. We pay their paycheck. We pay their wages. And they're just systematically trying to take us down. And yes, I have faith, and yes, I know God's in control. I see a lot of that in chat. But my thing is, we still have to move and pay attention and educate ourselves with what's going on, and get mad enough to do something. Call our local representatives, whatever it may be that we are led to do by the Holy Father, we need to do. We can't just bend over backwards. And I'm very tired and very sick and tired of people saying that we aren't all encompassing of people. We aren't welcoming, and that's what our country should do. Bite the wazoo. I'm totally for closing everything down. Like Trump said, he's canceling all visas, canceling anybody coming in here, because we need to fix our own backyard. Because I know that people these sanctuary city people and representatives that said, oh, we want them here. Remember the buses they brought to their houses and dropped them off and said, okay, and you go ahead and house them in your McMansion? How many of them did that? Zero. Right? They want us to put it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Tammy. But here's the deal: is we have become a nation of tolerance. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that we will tolerate someone else offending us as Americans, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to call it like it is, or we are tolerant of people offending a white male. Like, that's okay now. That's an okay thing to offend us, to attack us, to abuse us because we are white male. That's horse shit. And I don't like that. I like that we allow people to come here with their culture and, again, assimilate, work, pay taxes, be a good American, become an American. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with legal immigration. I'm not okay with illegal immigration, and I'm not okay with you coming here and trying to change my country into something that you just came from, or even worse, into Sharia law or any of that bullshit. And so we have become a nation of tolerance. It's time for Americans to stand up and not tolerate this shit anymore.
Right. I mean, Sharia law, and then they're also allowed to have 4 wives, and the wives have to keep themselves covered. So I don't think the youth who want change so bad and hate the white man, our youth, they don't understand that if you're gay or a lesbian or whatever, that you will not last very long if you were in their country. And if they get control over this country, you're not going to last very long either. You are fighting for your own offing and unaliving because they don't tolerate any of that. So when you think the United States of America, we the people, United States citizens, don't tolerate it, that isn't true. It's those people that are burning our flag and raising their flags, having the prayer to call 4 or 5 times a day in our cities. You think they're going to tolerate you and accept you?
Hey,
no, it's not their religion.
Jeff has traveled the globe. He's been out there in the Navy. He's traveled the globe. I've asked Jeff this question before. I'm going to ask him again. Jeff, what would happen if I went to China and I burned their effing flag? What would happen if I went to Russia and I burned their flag? What would happen if I went to North Korea and I burned their flag in the streets? What would happen if I go to some of these Islamic countries and burned their flag in the streets? What would happen to me, Jeff?
If you weren't killed, you'd probably be imprisoned and never see the light of day.
But yet in America, we have become a country of tolerance where we allow these sons of bitches to cross our border illegally. They're here getting free EBT, free housing, free this, free that. They'll stand in our streets. They'll piss on our flag, a flag that Jeff has sacrificed his life for and his body for, and a lot of our veterans that are watching tonight have sacrificed. They burn our flag that Jeff has bled for, his friends have bled for, our veterans and our families and our friends have bled for, and we have become a nation of tolerance. I'm telling you right now, it's time to stand up as Americans, and we're no longer going to tolerate this shit.
Well, and another thing, I think a lot of people, when they start calling, like with this Somali nonsense, I can't even count the number of times that when people were talking about it on YouTube, if they were white, they were being called racist. I'm at race fatigue.
Yeah,
it's over.
I'm over it.
That's what the politicians have used. Look, if I like you, I like you. If I don't, you're probably an asshole, and you're going to be an asshole.
I'm racist just for being a white male. That's what they preach. That's what they preach in the street. I'm a racist just for being a white male. I don't hate anyone because of their color. I hate everyone equally. If you're an asshole, like Jeff says, I don't like you. That plain and simple. I don't give a shit what color you are. And if you're pissing on my flag and you're burning my flag and you're burning my cities to the ground and you're trying to change what America was built and stands for, I dislike you. Sorry. If that makes me racist, then I'm an effing racist. I don't care.
And you know, earlier today I guess you could say he's a pretty big YouTuber. He's a Army veteran, and he was on his way to the area in Minnesota where all this was going on. Now, he's a veteran, but yet you're going to this and you're telling people on your live stream that you are going to be using Signal to communicate with the Somali community there to let them know where ICE is going to be at. Now, you are an American, you're white, you serve this nation, but yet now you're going to go hinder ICE from doing their job. And, you know, this, and you're doing it. This is what I don't understand. How can you be this stupid? You just put this out to all the viewers that you're going to do this. It boggles my mind. And now you're hindering a federal investigation. So, you know, with the Pentagon creating these quick reaction forces that can be deployed, and I think it's going to be for what we're going to talk about here later on this evening. It may flip the script. They may have to, because, and I actually thought this was going to be done this fall, because, you know, a lot of these people protesters don't like to be out in the cold. Well, I mean, they were looting last night.
Jesus.
I mean, they were
this comment right here. Look at this comment right here. The wrong people have too many rights. 100% agree with that statement. Criminals have more rights than law-abiding citizens. Illegals that come to this country have more rights than the citizens of this country. This country is upside down. We are a nation of tolerance. We put up with this shit too long. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being called a racist. I'm sick of being called a homophobe. I'm sick of all those surnames and shit that they like to throw at us and tag names, because we want morals and we want values and we want whole families and we want justice and we want accountability and we want our country to have borders and we want good pay for hard work and we want fair taxes and we want fair housing costs and we want fair grocery prices. We want America, and I don't give a shit about any of those tags anymore. Call me what you want, say what you want about me, but I'm standing up for Americans tonight. I'm standing up for our veterans tonight. The people in our lives that have gone above and beyond the call of duty, putting their lives on the line to make sure that this country stays free. And so I have this microphone tonight. Thank you to those people. And for them to burn our flags and to burn our cities down and to invade this country, we have to stop it, because nobody's coming to save us. I know everybody thinks there's an operation going on, and God, I hope so. But if there's not, there has to be a plan B. And plan B is we have to save ourselves. And it may come to a day where that plan B is a little bit more of a choice than some of us want to make. And I'm prepared to make that choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm going to throw this up here because I don't think I sent it. It was just we were going to talk about it, but I'm going to let people see it, because when you say what is the action plan, we have to follow our leader, right? Our president, and what he says, and try to affect it locally and everything else. But President Trump put this out and he reposted this, and he said, "Welcome to Minnesota. Great job, Governor Waltz." He said the Somalia state of Minnesota, it's being systematically transformed. This person posted this, Trump's people, and Trump reposted it on his page. Its people replaced, its cities turned into foreign enclaves, its future rewritten by mass migration and soaring immigrant birth rates, all by design, which LW was talking about that earlier, about the birth rates and the breeding and all that. But there were 130,000 new arrivals last year. Tens of thousands of Somalia, Ethiopia, and Mexico. Migrant birth rates soaring while native Minnesotans flee. Crime, welfare abuse, and Islamic influence exploding. Minneapolis already holds the largest Somali population in the U.S., a hub for Sharia, push, and radical recruitment. You can see it on display in the Somali culture and music night held this weekend. And now Omar Fatia, a Somali American Muslim and Democratic Socialist, is poised to take City Hall as the next mayor of Minneapolis. This isn't a simulation, it's colonization. So once again, we are not against them.
We're going to talk about that, Tammy. We're doing a full show of colonization. We're going to talk about the birth rate in America. We're going to do a whole show on that. I promise people. And I don't mean to cut you off, but you are 1,000% correct tonight. And we're just on fire tonight. So sorry for cutting in there.
No, that's okay. And what I was going to say is, I don't want to see people saying, well, a lot of the people are citizens. A lot of people, I'm not against anybody that's a citizen. I want that. We want that. And Jeff, I'm sure, is the same way. It's the illegals. It's what the government has done to us over the years by allowing illegals in, millions and billions. And like I said, everybody's forgetting about these sanctuary cities and how much it costs them, and how our veterans and our own citizens were pushed out into the streets while these illegals that they want their vote for, and that got all these cards and phones and everything else, clothes and food, were put up in New York fancy hotels. You cannot tell me that you agree with that.
Yeah, look at brother John Estabrook's comment here. Just take a look at London. Entire parts of the city are totally Muslim owned. Whites are not allowed to enter. They are operating outside of the law. That is what my warning to America tonight is all about. If we don't do something about this, if we don't hold our senators, our congressmen accountable for the way they vote and the way they operate this country will turn into the next London, will turn into the next Europe. These people will overrun us. They will take over. And we're, like I said, at the beginning of this show, for those of you out there, because I've seen some of your comments and I've liked them and I've loved them because you have a right to your opinion. But for those of you out there that think that it's a great idea to vote these democratic socialists into office and that you're ushering in communism or Sharia law or any of that stuff, if you think for 1 second you're going to vote it in and then we're all going to come together, kumbaya, and vote it out, you're wrong. If you vote it in, we're going to have to shoot our way out. Think about that. It's a real statement that has weight. You got to think of the consequences of our voting and allowing these illegals coming across our border. This invasion of America is real.
And it is not repeating stuff that isn't true that somebody's saying. We're following what the president is saying. We're following what is happening in our cities. Like
I don't even have to follow what the president is saying. I have done years of research on this.
That too.
Anybody who wanted to challenge me on that, do your research. I have sat there and watched the numbers come across the border. I have done interviews on people that are on the border, watching these people coming across, videoing these people coming across. This isn't me regurgitating anything that Donald Trump says. I really don't give a shit what he's saying. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you facts. It is an invasion of America. They're coming across our border. The border police. There's so many people and so many assets out there and resources to get these numbers. You can't deny it. It is happening to America today.
Yeah, I'm going to have you pull up the Bannon on the Muslims video. I'm going to let Jeff pipe in here, but real quick, KR Rashidi, thank you. You bought us a coffee. Good to have you here tonight. Thank you so much for the coffee. Jeff, do you want to add to that while he's pulling up the Bannon video on Muslims?
Well, during the Biden administration, I was on several shows talking about how they were flying people into this country. And I was told during the whole time by a lot of people, "Oh, you're making this up. This is all bullshit." Well, now it's coming out, and now I think you're going to start seeing a lot of video of people getting off these planes in some of these port of entries, because the and the thing that baffles me about these protests and in that are all the Americans that are out there not siding with their own people, but siding with illegals.
Yes.
And like you said, you keep hearing the rhetoric, well, American citizens are getting rounded up during this INS. Guess what? When INS comes, you give them your social security number and they run it through leads, and they know if you're a citizen or not.
Thank you, Jeff.
If you're a citizen, you're not going anywhere, idiots. But the I don't even want to say they're uneducated Americans, but sometimes you have to think, wow, wait. So if I give them my driver's license or social security number, they'll know exactly if I'm a U.S. citizen. That's just.
But wait a minute, Jeff. They don't want anybody to have a driver's license either, or an ID card to even vote. Yeah, this is the craziest shit in America. Like, sometimes I don't feel like I'm even in America. I feel like I'm in a third world country.
Well, for years, IDs was racist.
Yeah,
because the liberal whatever it basically and this goes to show you how dumb the American people are. They were basically saying, minorities are too stupid to get IDs.
Correct. They did. Well, that was actually pointed toward our African Americans.
Correct.
That African Americans were too dumb and stupid to get even an ID card. And I tell you what, those brothers and sisters were so offended by that. And I would have been too, man. I'd have raised hell. But Jersey Joe here makes a good comment. They say they side with the illegals and criminals, and it's crazy. True statement.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And it isn't just us going one or two places. This is, like I said, research, like LW has said he's done, we've done. Jeff B's got connections in the government. I've researched and I listened to what the president says, and then I follow it up to look on the different government pages to see if I can find more detail into it. But then you've got this guy, Steve Bannon, who was arrested, who in front of everybody was arrested and handcuffed.
For not showing up to Congress, but yet the Clintons haven't shown up yet, and they haven't been arrested. Now, it took a while to go through the process with Bannon, but bottom line is he spent some jail time for not showing up. So are you ready for me to play this video, Tammy?
Sure, yep.
All right. Can I get when I play this, can I get a 5x5 in chat if you guys can hear the volume on this, please? Thank you.
This situation, the Somalians in Minnesota, it's a money laundering, racketeering operation under these progressives like Waltz that just look the other way. Plus in New York City, Mandami. He's a Ugandan Marxist jihadist, okay? The Muslims are now in control of New York City. Do you see the pattern recognition? This is going to become the major issue. President Trump, the lead story in Daily Mail, lead story in the New York Post, overnight President Trump says, I've had it. You saw yesterday at the, maybe we have time to play it later, at the cabinet meeting, he hit him with both barrels. I don't want these people coming in the country. I'm not going to allow these people to come into the country. Andrew Colvett puts up and very brilliantly saying, hey, President Trump's not just reawakening, but re-emphasis on this over the Thanksgiving holidays was one of the reasons that we had a game day blowout for a MAGA candidate who, by the way, had spent 9 combat tours as a young man coming out of West Point, where in the Iraq, Afghanistan, the Middle East, with the entire Islamic war we're fighting over there. So you see the pattern recognition? Can you connect some dots here? It ain't that hard.
All right, Tammy.
So that's the thing. He's putting it out there. And yes, we have to, somebody said, be careful with Steve Bannon. We got to be careful with Trump. We got to be careful with everybody. Who do we trust? And that's the whole damn mind screw that's going on, this tornado in our minds of what do we see that is real? What's true? What's not true? And that's why we have to pull from all different avenues. That's why we need to count on Jeff B for what he knows, LW for his research, me for the research, what you guys research, and we're all pulling together. I'm not saying I agree with every single person and what they say. I'm saying I'm pissed off, and I'm pissed off enough to try to find the truth, and I won't quit trying to find the truth. And it may be the fog of war like people say, it may well be, but people are sick and tired. And you guys have to remember in chat and that are viewing us, not everybody is in it like we are. Over our head deep. We are in this 24/7 all the time. Even if we're working or doing other things, Jeff B, LW, and I are constantly texting different stuff to research. It doesn't end. It becomes a way of life, per se. So we are here to be able to educate other people, help each other, and say, hey, some of these people that say, oh, it's not as bad as you think. Guess what? I was one of those people a while ago. I'm not anymore. I worked in Dearborn, Michigan. I knew how bad it was then. But now it's a whole different ball game, and that should not be that way. No city in the United States of America should ever be hearing prayer over speakers 5 times a day. There's no, that's not what we are and who we are. We don't go anywhere else and try to do that, make it our way. So they should acclimate when they come here and be thankful and respectful. And they're not burning flags, looting like Jeff B says that they're doing, because the freebies they're already getting isn't enough. I've had it. I'm tired of paying for that when our own children and our own husbands and or wives can't find decent jobs because a lot of shit's going on and companies are a mess. So we have to pull together, get our shit together, and get this country back on track.
Absolutely. Well, Tammy, I got the next video teed up. You'll like this. I nuked myself and kicked myself out. I was like, what the heck did I just do? I hope I didn't kill the whole show. So glad to see you guys are still in here. But we got a lot of new faces in chat. So welcome tonight to LWN. If it's your first time, welcome. Of course, we have all of our favorites that have been in here for a while. So do us a favor. We had close to 400 just on YouTube. If you guys can hit that like button on YouTube, if you can hit the like button on the X, because we're growing a little bit on X. If you can hit the Rumble button over there on Rumble, and of course Facebook, hit that button and subscribe, or at least consider subscribing to us if you like the material, you like the host, or the co-host. And
gee, thanks, Jeff B. If they like us.
Yeah. Well, it'll help us a lot, and appreciate that. A lot of great comments tonight. We're trying to share as many of them as we can. We got a lot going on, and we still haven't even covered the Fed yet. So
yeah, we'll get to that.
We're gonna get to the Fed toward the end of the show, and I think we got some stuff that and a different perspective than maybe what you've heard of. So something I've been thinking about all day since I saw that this morning. So Tammy, you're still driving the bus.
Which video do you have? Is it the Tom Homan video on ice in Minnesota?
I have.
Or is it
Dan Scavino?
What? I didn't send that one.
You didn't? Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Bring me to life. I don't know. That's what was in the email. Well, let me find it again.
Go to. Well, it's Tom Homan. Tom Homan. Now, this video, it's right after the Bannon one. Tom Homan, this one goes on for like 6 minutes. So basically, Tom Homan's reciprocating to what the mayor of Minnesota said, not working with them and stuff. And it's a good perspective, but it's 6 minutes long. So we might want to just skip that or speed through it. I'll let you decide.
We can speed it up real quick.
Yeah, speed it up, because it really is a good video, and it shows that what's happening isn't just from Trump, isn't just from somebody over here or you, me, and Jeff in the chat. It's from Tom Homan, who's the head of ICE. Let's go.
Here we go.
to remind you that.
Oh, you got to fast forward because I told you there's like an ad you'll have to skip at the beginning.
Oh, Jesus, I'm pushing too many buttons now.
Yeah, you are. Just play the one. Just play it, and then it's going to let you skip it. And then it'll be fine. I love Tom Homan. Let's just say he's amazing, and he's one that gets up and out front, and he's not afraid of anybody.
Twisted Tim, because there's an ice storm blowing in, and his little fur hat and his boots aren't going to protect his sanctuary fantasy for Somali refugees who are ripping off the American taxpayers.
You know, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's bold, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country. Fraudulent visa.
Liberal Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry was all emotion today.
Our values and our commitment to the Somali community, to every community of immigrants and people in our city, is rock solid and will be unwavering. But we need to also be demanding better from an administration who is intent on targeting people and committing so much time, energy, and money to terrorizing certain groups within our community. That's not American.
Always protecting the fraudsters. Joining us now, Border Czar Tom Homan. Tom, this is amazing, right? We have American taxpayers, including Minnesotans, being ripped off billions of dollars sent to Al-Shabaab and a terrorist organization in Somalia. We got all these other fraud schemes, autistic children, and Jacob Fry is worried about protecting the immigrant communities. Your reaction
Of course.
to this? This is madness.
And to say those use his own words, we're terrorizing the community. Are you kidding me? I mean, we're out there looking for illegal aliens and illegal alien criminals. And look, we've done operations in Twin Cities, but you know what? The uncoverings of criminal activity that Secretary Nolan just talked about just elevated their priority status. So yes, there's going to be an increase of activity up there, and we're going to hold people accountable. We're going to enforce the law without apology. So again, I told every sanctuary city mayor, governor, you can stand aside and let us make your community safe and remove criminals. And even legal aliens that commit crimes that make themselves, that they're a resident alien, they commit a certain offense, a family offense, even they're deportable and they'll be deported. We're going to enforce the laws of this country without apology, including in the Twin Cities.
When do you expect ICE to make its presence really known in the Twin Cities, Tom? Approximately.
I can't forecast that. I don't want to give up operations, but I can tell you that Secretary Nolan's all over it. I know ICE and CBP and other federal agencies, the FBI, DEA, ATF. President Trump's been the genius on this. He brings all the government to these operations. So if we arrest an alien with drugs, you got the DEA right there, can prosecute the case before we deport him. If you get him with a gun, you got ATF right there, prosecute the case before we deport him. But I can tell you, focus is there. It's coming, but I don't want to give a lot. I can't tell you how many people on the ground now, how many people are going to be on the ground. I'll leave that to the Secretary of Homeland Security, but focus is on those Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities been uncovered by DOJ and DHS.
And Tom, the Minneapolis police chief is now demanding that residents call 911, not on the criminals, but on ICE, and then accuse them of kidnapping if they actually start arresting illegals when they're wearing masks. Check this out.
Folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports. I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911.
Yeah, so call 911 on law enforcement. That's a police officer.
It's just ridiculous. It is. And as a chief of police, does this officer arrest people?
It's crazy.
When they arrest people, is that kidnapping?
You can't even make this shit up.
Right?
This country. Laws that were passed by Congress were appropriated with funding to enforce those laws. They were signed by a president. So it's shameful on any law enforcement officer to compare us to a bad guy and kidnappers. Bottom line is, when ICE or Border Patrol shows up, yeah, they'll have gear on, and they may be wearing masks to protect their, the doxing themselves and their spouses and their children. But they got clear identification.
But it's worse than that.
ICE. So,
yeah, but Tom, it's worse than that, because that police chief, after everything Minneapolis has endured since Floyd, that police chief is saying, we're not cooperating with ICE. So effectively, they're
fire them.
ICE's operation in the city. If, in a way, you could argue that if they're not cooperating by not taking action to back up ICE, but they're saying, we're not working with you. Doesn't matter what you uncover, I guess.
Look, I'll say the same thing I said to other chiefs of police in Sanctuary City. Shame on you. I mean, your number one responsibility is the safety and security of your communities. Yep. And ICE is targeting criminals. So for you not to partner with ICE to make your community safer, It's shameful. He ought to put his badge in the desk drawer and walk away because
Yep.
he stopped being a cop, become a politician. If
Yep.
a true law enforcement official would work with us, say, okay, look, I don't want to be an immigration officer. I'll leave that to you guys. But when we have an illegal alien public safety threat in the community, I want to be shoulder to shoulder with you. I want to help you make my community
wishful
safer because the
thinking.
chief of police, that's my number one responsibility. If he wants to watch, stand aside, do it. But if you cross that line, Pam Bondi and her U.S. attorneys are waiting to prosecute anybody that impedes law enforcement, ICE law enforcement, Border Patrol law enforcement in doing their job. Zero tolerance for impeding ICE in their operations.
Zero intolerance. And Tammy,
Yep.
there are police departments in the city of New York and the city of San Francisco that they'll go to a crime, arrest people, put them in jail, find out that they're illegal aliens, that they're here illegally, they've crossed the border, they've committed a crime, and instead of calling ICE and allowing them to come detain them and take them and deport them, they're actually hurrying and getting them through the processing, the booking processing procedure, and scurrying them out the door before ICE gets there. These are sanctuary cities that are doing this, and they're putting these criminal, illegal aliens back on the streets, and they go out and harm citizens again and again. Jeff B., your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of long-winded.
Good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, you know, when these bunch of idiots come on TV and started spewing this bullshit, you know, I sent 2 texts to 2 people that are high up in federal law enforcement. And, you know, and I asked him, these people just admitted that they are going to hinder federal law enforcement. I said, why aren't you guys sending people in there to arrest these people? I said, because look, what happens, we already had 1 National Guard soldier killed. We have another one fighting for his life. And this is after the rhetoric of these 6 morons. I said, now you have a police chief that's coming out there and telling people to call 911 on ICE. So, you know, the one kind of reminded me, and I was like, don't go down this path. That when Chris Miller was Secretary of Defense, he put in a request to, at that time, President Trump in his first term, for the ability of psychological operations within the United States, and Trump signed off on that order. Now, I've been told, I can't prove it, I haven't seen it, but I've been told there's already a national emergency that has been drafted and that has been approved by Trump for what's to come.
Nice.
Now, I think the national emergency is going to be dealing over the elections from 2020. But I also believe that this national emergency is also going to encompass these federal judges that have been put in there. And then I also was told that there's going to be another national emergency changing, because if you go back and you read the original Constitution, we didn't elect senators. Senators were appointed by the governors to go sit in Congress. And, you know, this police chief, I personally, you know, because I went off on the guy I talk about with you guys all the time. And I said, hey, please tell me your boss has seen this.
Right.
Because why isn't this dude in handcuffs?
Right.
You were defying a federal agency coming in and getting out the illegals. And his response to being in, he's pretty He kind of reminds me of. Have you ever watched NCIS?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of that guy DeNozo. He's a complete idiot, but he's smart as shit.
But
And,
right.
and when he first got this job, I was just laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, this is going to be a train wreck," because I know him as a train wreck. He's a hot mess, and he told me, don't worry, all this is coming to a head. And I said, well, like you guys were saying, Mike, you're getting tired of hearing all the bullshit. Well, I'm getting to the point again to where I can't stand to listen to Trump because it's the same bullshit over and over again. This thing he was give today about the vehicles seemed like the first 10, 20 minutes it was a rehash of all the old BS.
Mm-hmm. I stopped watching it, Jeff, so I agree with you.
So did I.
I lost. Yeah.
It's like you're all you're doing is repeating the same shit over and over again, and we're not getting any results.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that he has to do that to cover for the incompetent and impotent congressmen and women and senators that aren't getting anything done since the big beautiful bill? Because Tammy's brought that up before. She said, "Hey, they haven't done shit since the big beautiful bill." So is Trump being put in a position? Trying to be devil's advocate here. I'm usually on the other side of this, but I'll be on this side tonight. He very well could have to kind of repeat himself just because there's nothing really to report on.
Well, yeah. Well, I believe Congress is a captured operation, and people have already forgot. Probably in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, we're going to be in another government shutdown.
Oh yeah, let's not forget about that little prize. That's right.
Okay, so and going into this government shutdown, because it's going to happen. I would say 80% it's going to happen, and I think this is when you may see this national emergency coming out, because every day, and even the mainstream news media is starting to talk about this auto pen issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and Trump saying everything that Biden did, is going to be null and void.
That's going to have some aftershock effects coming up real shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'm watching the time, and I want to give some time to something that I want to talk about tonight, which is the Fed. And I do have this Omar video. That was the YouTube one that I was talking about. But I think we beat that horse dead a few times about the whole illegals and Somalians and all that stuff. But I want to shift gears and go to the Fed. Tammy, I want you to set the stage, and then I want to give people my perspective of what you report on, and then I want to give Jeff the rest of the time to tell us what his thoughts are on that, what his perspective is, and what he knows. So go ahead, Tammy.
Okay, first off, I got to thank somebody for a coffee, but it ties into this. Somalians and Afghans are not going to go quietly. That's what you guys have to remember. And then White Devil brought 3 coffees. Thank you so much. And they said, you better understand these SOBs are armed and they hate you. They hate your God. They hate our country. So thank you, White Devil, for the coffees. Thank you guys for the comments. Now, getting up to the Fed stuff now. Okay, so we heard that the Fed was dead, right? We heard that it was gone. However, Trump is apparently ready to announce the Fed chief nominee in early 2026. So the next Fed chief, they're saying, is going to probably face challenges from economy and inflation, online wagering markets to see Trump economic advisors as favorite for the job. 2 current Fed governors are also among the potential candidates. So basically, this came out yesterday that Trump said he would be announcing his choice to succeed Jerome Powell as head of the Federal Reserve early next year, further teasing out months-long audition process that he's already going through. And this was in the cabinet meeting on Tuesday that he was talking about this. So this guy that's in charge now is going to be out next year. So when I saw this, I said something about the Fed doesn't make sense. Something is giving me a red flag here. And I brought it up to LW, and LW, take it from here and tell me what you said.
All right. So, and again, I'm going to go first because I'm going to let Jeff come in and maybe cool the jets a little bit. Now, I went off the other night and I told you guys what I really thought about a lot of stuff. And I know I probably didn't make a lot of people happy. There was people that said, I'm never watching you again. Fine. That's okay. But my job, and I said this on the show, my job is to stir the pot and I really want you to think. So put your thinking cap on tonight, and I'm going to let Jeff go after me, but put your thinking cap on for a minute and think about this. So we've been told by a lot of people, some of them real close friends, that the Fed is dead, right? Even my brother John Estabrook's comment right there, the Fed is dead, the Fed's gone, Fed don't exist. And then you will have people, and I love all of you, that will say, well, they're just actors, right? Trump's an actor. Congress is all actors. The new Fed guy is going to be an actor. They're wearing masks. They're doing this. They're doing that. So here's my perspective of that. And again, I just want you to get mad at me, do what you got to do, but think about this for a minute. If the Fed is dead, which I believe it soon will be, and these guys are all actors, who's the director? Who's directing all these actors? Because if you pay attention to productions in Hollywood, it takes a lot of people. It takes screenwriters. It takes stunt doubles. It takes all these people. It takes hundreds of peoples just to do a commercial. It takes thousands of peoples to create a movie. It takes thousands of peoples to create series. And they've got all these actors and they got all these people. And so if all these people are actors, then who are the directors? Who's the director? Is it one man? Is it Donald Trump? And he's because that's a lot of work to try to tell all these people what they should be doing as actors. I see some of the comments in here of military. What military people are actually qualified to be directors, and they're directing all these people? Think of the hundreds of people that are supposed to be actors, and you're just watching a movie. Again, I know I'm irritating people because I'm not believing like you're believing, but that's how my brain works. And my brain is telling me some of this shit's not making sense, and I want you to think about that for a minute. Because if they're all actors, they got to have somebody in charge that's directing every movement they're doing. Every interview they do on the news they have to have somebody there directing them and telling them what to do. Every vote they do, everything that they're doing, there has to be somebody directing them, because these actors are not just going out there. They're not getting an email or a text message in the morning telling them what they are supposed to do for the day. They would typically have handlers. How many handlers do you need for all these people? And who are these handlers? Is it the military? Is it Donald Trump? Is it J.D. Vance? Who the hell is it? And does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. So, Jeff B., you can go in, come on in, and tell them what you think it is.
So, who was in Trump's first administration? Who was Trump's Treasury Secretary?
I can't remember.
Steve Mnuchin.
Mnuchin. That's right. That's right. Yep, that's right. Okay.
And what did Stephen Mnuchin do prior to becoming a Treasury Secretary?
He was a dang movie producer.
Correct. Movie blah, blah. That's why I let Jeff go second.
So now, think of all the mishaps that happened during the Biden
I still
administration.
think that Jim Carrey very well could have played Biden. I do want to say that because he would have been a good Biden actor. I'm just saying. I have to throw that out there because.
So, we seen all the craziness during the Biden administration, right? I'm just wondering, was that maybe a test run to, a lot of us thought, well, maybe they're showing us this nonsense to be played later on, which I think they are. Just think of all the times in the very beginning of the Biden administration that we seen movie Hollywood quality.
100% agree with you, Jeff. 100% agree with you. And I see some of the comments. Yes, you're watching a movie. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this movie stinks. And what I can't wrap my mind around is why are we still watching a movie? Why does this movie keep going on and on and on? And I'll see comments. Well, you got to wake more people up. More people got to believe, and blah 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 blah. No, I don't for 1 second jump on that bandwagon with it's all movie production and that's all we're watching and all this other stuff. Now, are there parts of it that I do believe, like Jeff is talking about? I believe there had to be some kind of movie production for the entire Joe Biden presidency.
Ding,
totally
ding, ding.
Believe that.
Ding,
totally
ding,
believe
ding.
that.
And there's a fake Oval Office, too, that they went into that I saved the video for.
Yes.
There's multiple Oval Office stages. That I do believe as well.
Well, they admitted it. And when they first admitted it, we did a show. Yep. And I told you, I said, look, I called somebody in D.C. and they said that they had a replica Oval Office at OEOB, which is right across the street. And I simply asked them, why in the fuck would you create a replica when you have the original real thing?
There's also one in Georgia, too. So, Jeff, when we did that show, they have one in DC. They have a stage, an Oval Office stage in DC, and they also have one in Georgia too. And we reported on that, and then we were called conspiracy theorists.
Right.
But again, I have a hard time believing that the whole thing is a movie production. Just that's why I wanted to bring the Fed up today, is because we were told the Fed is dead and it's just actors. Then why in the F is Donald Trump? I'm asking you, Jeff B, right now. Why in the F would Donald Trump be getting ready to appoint another Fed director or whatever secretary, whatever the hell you want to call him? If the Fed is dead, it makes zero sense to me. Why wouldn't he just come out and say the Fed is dead after December 31st? There's no more freaking Fed. Why would he have to have an actor come play the part as the director of the Fed? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, think about this. Leading into the Fed. Remember, it's probably been 3 or 4 years ago. And here was another one of my epic moments where I was video clipped and said,
we're going to put our tinfoil hats on. Here we
go. That I was full of shit, that I was making all this up. But remember, I told everybody at the time that the FBI was closed. I also told everybody the IRS is closed. In D.C., it was boarded up, closed, empty.
And the FBI that moved to Alabama.
Now, why is now Trump talking about getting rid of income tax?
He did. I was going to bring that up. He just did. Yeah.
He said we're getting rid of it.
Yep. Now, all gone.
Which he's been talking about for 2 or 3 years now.
Well, okay.
He has been talking about it.
Okay. Yep. So now he's been talking about getting rid of the Fed. Okay. What was the last project? And I know I told you, Mike, because it didn't make sense to me. The person that was at the FBI that has since moved close to Trump.
Yeah.
His last project that he was involved in was the introduction of artificial intelligence into the quantum financial system and to see how certain things would react. Okay.
Okay.
So now this was almost 4.5 years ago that he did this. And now you have Doge, which I think Doge has been going on since Trump's first term, because there's no possible way that Doge could have went in, found all this fraud based on that computers could do it, but you still have to have human eyes looking at all this data. And there is not enough people. Well, wait, there is kind of enough people, because remember, they hired all those IRS agents.
Oh, son of a sea biscuit. I remember that.
80,000.
And everybody said that the IRS was coming for everything. No, dummies. IRS agents were installed in with Doge.
Son of a sea biscuit. That makes sense. I forgot about them, Jeff.
That's why I let Jeff go second.
Oh my God.
Can't stir the pot if Jeff comes in and just lays it down. So
Well, and you have to really go back, and a lot of that didn't make sense to me when I was being told all this shit, and I was called a hack and everything else. But now that you go back with what's happening today, now it makes a lot more sense. Just like I've been telling people since all this craziness that we've been able to spot on TV was going on, I was told there's going to be a major constitutional crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your crisis, I believe now, is the auto pen.
That's a big deal. Yeah,
Okay. Ketanji Brown Jackson, whatever the hell her name is, I was told this morning by one of the heads of the Marshal Service, who's in charge of SCOTUS's protection, that her appointment to the U.S. Supreme Court was done by auto pen.
Oh,
okay.
So
What?
now, how do you replace her, or how do you get rid of her? I believe, I think we've all been told that the Supreme Court's the highest office in the land. So only Congress, I think, can remove them. Okay? We're going into a government shutdown.
Yeah.
We
All
won't have a functioning government again. Is this what is meant by the military is the only way? Because we're going to have, I think the government shutdown was a test run for what they were going to do, like SNAP. Figure, it's amazing how they shut down SNAP, and now all of a sudden you have this story coming out of Minnesota of all of this fraud.
yes.
All right. Well, I hate to cut you off, Jeff, but we got to save.
Do it anyways, right?
We got to save. Yeah, we got to save a little bit. We got to save a little bit for the next one, because I want to give a couple of minutes real quick before we go into final thought. We're getting close to 90 minutes here. I promised Travis that we're going to talk about this because he texted me right before we went live.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Obama real quick, because I'm staying right freaking here. I still think, has there been other arrests? Yeah, but I think the one that's going to shock the world the most isn't Trump. Everybody knew that Trump was going to get arrested and be and the Democrats and Biden and everybody was going to go after him. That wasn't shocking to me when they indicted him, when they charged him, when he had to show up and get booked and go to court and do all the things. My biggest one still to this day is going to be Obama. And Travis had just sent us something right before we went live tonight. I'm going to go ahead and give it back to Jeff and then Tammy. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, Christy Nome, the intelligence agencies, they're basically coming out and saying Obama's going to get arrested. Okay?
Oops.
Now, when
Did you
Trump,
say, Jeff? I didn't hear
that
you. Say that one more
Obama's
time,
going to
please.
get arrested. Okay. Now, I told people that, those two, Big Mike and Barack, got a divorce. And everybody said I was nuts.
Right.
Well, I believe old Big Mike flipped. And you remember how Trump come out and was talking about the Muslim Brotherhood?
Yeah.
Yep.
And how
Yeah.
they're a terrorist organization.
And-
Well, remember when Barack was in office and he talked about being part of the Muslim Brotherhood?
Yep. 100%. Oopsie. Yeah.
Go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead, Tammy.
Well, I think that would be wonderful. We want to see arrests of everyone, but most people, like I said, don't get into the judges and all that and don't go down the ladder. They want the top dogs, right? Because that's who they're familiar with. That's who they voted for and then got screwed. That's who they believed in and got lied to. So if Obama's the first one, that would be amazing, and that means LW was correct all along. But I also still want to see Hillary and Bill. More Hillary than even Bill. And that will make me celebrate because, like I said, it's not a matter of liking or disliking somebody. It's about the just history and the log of corruption and bad things. Thank you. Yeah. And I can't wait because, the Bushes can't get away with stuff either because I'm still flashing back to Bush Sr.'s funeral and that dang card that we talked about, and everybody got it but Trump. I want to know every single person that got that card. I want to know what was on the card, and I want to see all of them arrested because they didn't look very happy. So it has to be something bad that they got caught in, because if it was something good, they'd all be happy about it, and Trump would be the bad guy standing out. But I believe that there was something that Trump or somebody uncovered to them that freaked them out. And the Bushes have been pretty quiet, really. But, Bush was there with 9/11 and all that stuff that went on, which was a tragedy to so many families in this country. And there's a lot of explaining to do with that to this day.
Well, I'm not going to elaborate any more on that. That's a whole nother show. We can talk about it later. I don't have any inside information, and I can't guarantee that Obama will be the first. I just have this gut feeling with everything that we've seen in the last few years and everything that we've been talking about, and with Jeff's input and all the stuff, that I feel like he could very well be the tip of the iceberg that creates an entire landslide. That if they do arrest him, I think that everybody's fair game at that point. And so that could be a huge thing for America. I'm going to go ahead and just say real quick before we roll into final thought, I'm going to give Jeff B first final thought tonight. Hit that like button. For those of you, there's almost 500 of you over here on both the YouTube channels. If you haven't hit that like button yet, you're not going to miss the final thought. Hit that like button real quick. Subscribe to us, or at least consider subscribing to us if you haven't, and share us out. Same over on X. We got quite a few people watching us live tonight on X, and thank you for joining us. If you can repost us on X, hit that like button, subscribe. We're up to like 295 over there. Would love to have you part of LWN. Rumble, we got 75, 80 people watching us live over on Rumble. Hit that Rumble button for us. Consider subscribing if you haven't done that yet, and share us out on Rumble. That would be great. And I think we got quite a few watching on Facebook tonight, which I know it's not a lot for a lot of channels, but we used to have 15,000 subscribers. Now we had to restart. We're up to like 225. I think we got almost a dozen people watching over there on Facebook, Tammy, which when we first came back, we had one or two. So a dozen's a pretty good number. So for those of you watching us live over there on Facebook, consider subscribing to us. Share us out on your Facebook page. Hit the like button tonight. It always helps us. With all that being said, don't forget, we got our coin giveaway next Monday. Thank you guys for everybody who has donated a coffee. Much appreciated. It helps keep the lights on. Gives me the opportunity to help War Machine out for him doing all the T-shirts for us. Don't forget our merchandise, and we'll be doing the coin giveaway next Monday. It's going to be a fun night. So
yeah.
I'm going to go back to Jeff B for his final thought. Thanks for joining us tonight, Jeff. As always, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. So, was it about 2 weeks ago? I think we talked about how, Bill and Hillary never showed up to their congressional hearing, and I was told that they somehow left the country. And it's kind of amazing now how we hear Marco Rubio talk about how they're going to start taking passports of certain people so they can't flee the country. I find that interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. Secretary of State's going to start taking passports. So I do believe that we are. I hate dates, but I heard something major is going to happen Friday, and I believe it may be the attack on Venezuela, and somehow mysteriously there's possibly going to be evidence that was removed from that country by a certain group of special forces. Whether that actually happened or not, it's going to prove the whole Dominion theory.
Wow. We can't forget about that, Jeff. Yeah, because we're getting wrapped up in all the Venezuelan drug stuff, which is bad enough, but don't forget about the Dominion in 2020. You're right. So thanks for reminding us.
Yeah, and I hate to bust your chops, but I'm going to put on my LW hat. Tammy, this is my final thought.
Oh my gosh, Jeff, Jeff. Oh man, touche, yeah. You got me.
And so just to let you guys know, I know I sent you some pics today, but we put some more shirts up on the site today.
Nice.
We got we're working on some other stuff, and for the audience members that have heat presses at home, we got a surprise coming for all the LW merch for you. So
nice.
We'll make that announcement here probably when we do the giveaway.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks
all
for
right,
joining.
Guys. Yeah,
bye, Jeff B. I owe you one.
That was good, though. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, Tammy. We're just down to the two of us. Your final thought.
Well, it felt really good to express ourselves in a more vibrant way and stand up for, what we really feel with these illegals and with what's happened to our country. We've sat back long enough, and it just really felt good. And I hope it woke a lot of people up as far as the numbers and what is really going on. It isn't just in one state or one mayor, or governor or whatever. It's spreading across this country fast. And don't forget, they don't love us. They don't want our ways. They want their ways. And I hope that people will pray about it and realize that we can get a lot accomplished when all of us team together and we pay attention. And so there is always hope at the end. Like I said, the saying goes, at the end of every storm is usually a rainbow. So I can't wait for that day we see a rainbow. God's rainbow, mind you. Nobody else is taking the rainbow back.
Well, here's my final thought. I don't hate anybody. I don't even hate these people. But what I think is important as Americans is we have to preserve and protect our way of life. That means we have to have a border, we have to have a wall, we have to stop allowing people to just flood through into this country, which I think we have. We've done that with this administration. That has happened. I actually have a cousin in Arizona right now helping build part of the wall. And he reports to me. He sends me photos and stuff. And love you, cuz. If you're watching tonight, thanks for sending me that stuff. But we have to protect our way of life. We have to protect our families. We have to have a constitution that actually means something. And we have to have a president that will protect that constitution. And when you allow foreigners to come here that have nothing in common with us and they have no intentions on assimilating with us, and they're here to invade and to take over and to change, we have to protect that. Bottom line, there's no other way, or we all will disappear. We will all become nothing, and this will be the next Somalia. This will be the next Syria. And if that's what you want for this country, I feel sorry for you because this is the greatest country on earth, and I'm here to help protect it. God bless y'all. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being co-host tonight, Tammy, and for setting this up. Just so you guys know, Tammy's the producer too. So she does all this hard research and work and brings up all the stuff. So thank you to Tammy for that. And, you know, I don't know when the next time we're going to be back. It could be Friday, it could be Saturday or even Sunday, but we will be back for sure on Monday. And we got a lot of work ahead of us, and I got a test that I got to take. So a lot of prepping, but love y'all. And cannot wait to get back here again and see you on the next one.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Wings. Got to do the wings.
Do the